This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Please be aware I am not a medical expert, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Explore, Love podcast. I'm Ashley. This podcast is based off of my blog of the same name, Eat, Explore, Love. It talks about the unique challenges in traveling around the world when you have celiac disease. Due to sort of popular demand, I decided to also record a podcast to delve a little deeper into my travels and the lessons learned along the way. On this week's episode, I'm exploring a new idea of going with the flow. Venice is the perfect city to learn that skill. With its narrow, windy roads, it's so easy to get lost. There's so much shopping to do in so little time. The history of Venice is really cool in the fact that it's essentially a city built on an upside-down forest. I've been to Venice twice. The first time was with my classmates in my study abroad program. Our professor didn't schedule any tours and we just wandered through the city, taking it all in. Venice is probably the coolest city I've ever been to. So when my mom came to help me with my big move to Verona, I had to show her Venice. It's an easy train ride from Verona to Venice, so it motivated me even more to make sure my mom got the experience to see this one-of-a-kind city. When people come to visit me, it's at the top of my recommendations of what people should make sure they go and do and see. There is a version of Bologna and Milan in other countries, but there's nothing like Venice anywhere else in the world. When my mom and I got out of the train station, the look on her face made it all worth it. I got to see the little girl version of my mom for the first time in my life. She probably has no idea that her face lit up so much when she took in the city for the first time, but it did. Typically, when I plan trips, I schedule one thing for the day, then leave room for magic. So I scheduled a tour in the morning for my mom and I to go to. It was interesting to learn the history of the city, but if I'm going to be honest, I think Venice just really needs to be a city where you leave room for magic. Don't try to schedule anything. In Italy, they have this app called AIC, which allows you to see all the approved restaurants or destinations in the area that have been considered safe for people with celiac disease to eat at. You can only have access to the app in Italy. If you walk around, there will be a sticker in the window of the restaurant with the AIC symbol, so you know it's safe. Italians take this super seriously. So other than planning out the one activity for the day, the only other thing I usually map out on vacations is places where I'm going to eat. I was diagnosed with celiac right around my 15th birthday, which unfortunately was a little too late. Damage had been done to my intestines at that point. Most people, when they're diagnosed with celiac, usually feel a little bit better once they start eating a gluten-free diet. It wasn't the case for me. I couldn't eat anything without feeling pain. Eventually, we figured out everything that was wrong, and my diet is a little bit more complicated than just being gluten-free. But that's another story for another day. Point being, if I don't eat by certain times, my body has a really bad reaction. I get incredibly nauseous and dizzy, and essentially I'm unable to function for the rest of the day. So I get a bit uptight and meticulously planning out where I'm going to have my meals. Lucky for us, there was even some room for magic in regards to where we ate in Venice. After our tour, we went to check out a little place called Harry's Bar. Now, if you don't know about Harry's Bar, you should definitely go look it up. The history is really cool. We basically went to check it out knowing it would make my grandfather happy. He's an Ernest Hemingway fan, and apparently Harry's Bar was a big hangout of his. So my grandfather really wanted to see it for himself. But for a variety of reasons, it just never worked out. So I promised my grandfather the next time I went to Venice, I would go and check out Harry's bar for him. I am true to my word and kept my promise. So once my mother and I were done with our planned activity for the day, we realized Harry's bar was nearby and we found it. We went to go check inside and see if we could take photos to send back to my grandfather. We were greeted by a lovely gentleman in a white suit jacket, thinking the answer would be no, but at least it got me in the door so I could get some photos. I asked if they had anything gluten-free on the menu. To my shock, they did. My mom and I looked at each other, shrugged our shoulders, figured why not? Let's have lunch at Harry's bar. We had so much fun. My mom and I definitely had a you only live once mentality as we placed our orders. We had the Bellini cocktails the restaurant is famous for, and the gluten-free pasta was the best food I had ever tasted. We weren't a big fan of their dessert options, but the lunch was magnifico. We sent my grandfather photos and videos of every part of the experience. It's a memory we all get to have for the rest of our lives, and I'm forever grateful for that. We did eventually go to the place I planned for us to eat at dinner, and sadly it did not live up to the standards Harry's bar had set. So the best way to approach certain places is to go in without a plan. Why was this such a big lesson for me? Well, I'm a producer by trade. My entire livelihood is based upon my ability to plan and anticipate anything that can go wrong. I'm pretty good at it. I also know that sometimes the more you plan, the more it leaves room for flexibility when things go wrong. It sounds a little backwards, but you'll have to just take my word for it. It's a big stress reliever to plan things. That's why I have a blog and this podcast. I needed a way to release my stress. I needed something to plan out. But I'm also the first person to acknowledge that you could plan every little detail of something, and the best shot you capture on a photo shoot will be the one you didn't plan for. So I planned out a great path for my mom and I to take on the day to Venice. But the best moment of not only that day, but the entire trip was the moment that we never planned for. Now, my health circumstances haven't changed, and I still need to make sure I'm safe. So there's still going to be a skeleton plan anytime I go to a new city. But I don't plan everything so intensely anymore. I keep the focus a little bit more on leaving room for the magic. Thank you for joining me this week for all the fun journeys and lessons learned on my big adventure called life. For more information on the different cities discussed, check out the blog posts on eatexplorelove.com, posted every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Until next week, remember to eat well, explore the world, and love yourself. See you next time! This episode is produced, scripted, and edited by me, Ashley. Special thanks to Sarah Mientka.